Hey, what's up there, YouTubers and those who may be watching this on Facebook? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at Daemon X Machina for the Nintendo Switch. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage, I'll have a link in the description of this video. It's a quick, I think 25-minute gameplay footage of me playing the game. I ran into some issues with the whole capture card and all that stuff. I had to call customer service and handle it out, and unfortunately I lost a good amount of gameplay footage, so I had to come up with something very quickly though. So if you're interested in a quick 25-minute gameplay footage, links in the description. Plus, I want to give my thoughts on the movie Joker that I saw at the movie theaters, and it is certainly a very, very interesting movie indeed. Anyway, as far as Daemon X Machina goes, this is kind of a interesting game. I remember hearing the announcement when it was shown at E3 in 2018 during one of Nintendo's Direct, and I thought it was a very interesting game. I never really played a whole lot of mech games or anything like that. The ones that I could think of were games like, say, like the Dynasty Warriors Gundam or Front Mission Evolved that was released back on the PS3 and 360 era. Published by Square Enix and all that stuff. But as far as mech games, and maybe I think the Robotech game, I think that was one for GameCube, Xbox, and PlayStation 2 and all. But as far as mech games, I never really hugely got into it, unlike other folks out there who did, whether it was the Armored Core series and so forth. So it's kind of interesting to see this one and try it out, despite the whole controversy that emerged with the whole copyright YouTube issue that recently popped up, which I will agree it is utterly ridiculous that Marvelous is doing that and all that stuff. And after spending some time with the game, both the demo, especially trying it out when I was in Europe for 2 weeks ago, I honestly have to say it's a fun game. It may not be the strongest new IP in the way, like, say, Astro Chain was, but it is still an enjoyable game nevertheless. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons, and we'll start off first with the pros. The first one I do want to talk about is the story. And I have to say, I do find the story kind of interesting and all that stuff. To some degree, it kind of gives off a little bit of a Zone of the Enders vibe. Not to mention, I definitely get a little bit of a sense of, Neon Genesis Evangelical, if I'm saying the name correctly, to, Blue Submarine number 6 to a certain degree. It's basically a story of humanity surviving after sort of a post-apocalypse. Basically, part of the moon broke off and destroyed most of the earth, and humanity has to fight off basically what are these corrupted AIs and so forth. So as far as stories goes, it's interesting though. I mean, it does have sort of that anime flair and so forth, but if you like those kind of stories and all that stuff, you'll probably enjoy this one. Next one I do want to talk about is the combat, and that's probably the game's strong point though. The combat in the game is fun. I won't say fast-paced like 60 frames per second. Based on my time with the game, it looks like it runs at 30 frames per second. Not bad 30 frames per second, but it is fun. There's a lot of customization. You can customize your mech to see in terms of different body parts to different styles of weapons. I go with, personally, on the right-hand side, I have a machine gun and assault rifle, and on the left hand side I have my shield and my sword and all that stuff. So you can customize it to the way to your liking, and combat is pretty simple. For the most part, you're in like sort of an area, and you basically have to complete certain missions such as destroy a certain amount of enemies, to defend a certain area, to take out like a giant boss, and basically you arm your mech with guns, swords, shields, however you want to arm them. However you want to arm them with. But as far as combat goes, it is fun and all that stuff. And last but not least, I do want to talk about a bit of the multiplayer mode, particularly the co-op though. Now recently they added verse mode. I didn't get a chance to try it though, but I will say the co-op mode is kind of fun. What you do is you go to one of the terminals when you log into your game, and you could choose to set up like a room. You could customize a room, search for a room, either way. and you basically team up with several other people, and you take on like certain missions. Some of these missions are the ones you did during like the story mode or any of the side quest missions, to be exact. And basically you work with them, although there are times where you can duke it out with your buddies as well and all that stuff. So as far as co-op goes, it's fun. Multiplayer, there's basically you can do that or verse mode, but co-op, I will say, is enjoyable. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 2, the cons, and my thoughts on the Joker movie. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video review of Daemon X Machina for the Nintendo Switch. So now that I gave you the pros, why don't we get started with the cons? And there are really only 2 cons as far as I'm aware of, at least based on what I saw while playing Daemon X Machina. We'll start off with the visuals. Now, I will say I don't exactly hate the visuals or anything like that. To some degree, they kind of have a mixture of an anime and a cel shade look to it and all that stuff, and it doesn't look that bad. That said, compared to say like Astro Chain on the Nintendo Switch, another Switch exclusive, I have to say Astro Chain looks better than Daemon X Machina does. Again, I'm not saying the visuals are bad or terrible or anything like that. They're just not as impressive as what Astro Chain will be. Not to mention, Astro Chain feels a little bit, well, lively and so forth, though. And the last thing I do want to talk about, as far as the frame rate goes in the game, the frame rate, like I mentioned, based on my time of what I've seen, it seems to run at 30 frames per second. And for the most part, the game runs fine and all that stuff. But there are times when the frame rate might dip just a little bit, mostly when things get a bit tense and so forth. Where I saw the frame rate dip the most based on my time was especially online doing any of the co-op missions. That's where I saw the frame rate, I think, dipped the most on that one. It did dip a little bit in single player, but I saw a little bit more during the co-op missions though. So there are some frame rate issues, not terrible, not like it breaks the game or anything like that. They are noticeable. Overall, I do enjoy Daemon X Machina though. The gameplay is fun and all that stuff, and the visuals look nice, even though they don't exactly look as great as Astro Chain and so forth. I guess probably the big one is that the frame rate, although an improvement over from the demo that has been out, from the prototype mission, all that stuff, there are some issues here and there, mostly, like I said, when things get intense and so forth. But for the most part, I enjoy the game. Nevertheless, if you're looking for a new IP tryout or looking for a good mech game to play, or a mech game in general to play, I would say take a look at Daemon X Machina though. As far as IPs go, as far as the new IPs from Nintendo, I do enjoy Daemon X Machina. I do think it's a fun game, but I have to say, between the two, between this and Astro Chain, I have to say I enjoy Astro Chain a bit more. Some may say maybe because I'm more of a Platinum fan and so forth, but I would say I definitely enjoy Astro Chain the most, a little bit more than Daemon X Machina. Not that I hate Daemon X Machina, I think it's a good game, just not as good as Astro Chain would be. Alright, before I end this video, I do want to give my thoughts on the Joker movie. That's right, the movie that certainly has caught a lot of people's attention, ranging from how well it's been doing in the box office to controversy surrounding whether or not this film would inspire, say, mass shootings or anything like that. Although after the movie was released, so far we haven't heard any incidents of anything like that has happened. So I did get to see the movie, and well, I will say it is interesting in a good way, to be exact. I'm kind of surprised with the way Joaquin Phoenix was able to portray the Joker. It almost felt like a spiritual successor to the to the late Heath Ledger and how he portrayed the Joker in Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy in The Dark Knight, one of my favorite comic book movies. So it really is interesting. I mean, to some degree, there are some scenes that can be a bit shocking to some people and so forth, but I didn't find myself in a situation where I was walking out in the theater and all that stuff. I mean, it was interesting to see this character go deeper and deeper into madness in so many ways, and see how everything just goes like downhill and so forth. And I'm very curious to see should a sequel happen or anything like that, although there are some rumors going around about that possibility. But I will say Joaquin Phoenix really hit it out of the park portraying a new take on Joker, where in this case, instead of like Joker being dumped into chemicals and all that stuff, this is a Joker where it is a time when Gotham City, where society was at a low point and so forth. It also deals with like him going through like mental issues, depression, and so forth. It's my picture of my cat on you're probably looking at right now. So it's a very, very interesting movie, and I could definitely see it as an Oscar contender. Whether it will win an award or not, who knows though. But overall, my take on Joker is that it's a very interesting take on the classic iconic villain and all that stuff, and I wouldn't mind seeing Joaquin Phoenix put on the Joker costume again, though. I would definitely be open to see him doing that again. Okay, this concludes my video review of Daemon X Machina for the Nintendo Switch, and my thoughts on the Joker movie. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts of Daemon X Machina? Is it a fun mech game to play? Have you tried it out? Have you tried it out yet? Are you enjoying the game? Are you not enjoying the game in any way? And what are your thoughts about the Joker movie? Do you think it's enjoyable? Do you think it's stunning? Do you think it's movie of the year? Do you think it deserves to be Oscar contender in any way? Do you think the controversy surrounding it was justifiable, or do you think some people were blowing it way out of proportion? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it, and I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. The links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, wish you all a good day then. Bye!